you. Thank you so much for coming and joining us here. So we'll straight away get into the battery technology. Now, we all know that lithium-ion batteries is something that is dominating the market, but you also have now alternative technologies that are coming in, like you have sodium ion as well. Do you see that becoming a more affordable and maybe even more mass market option?
Is it to me?
It's for everyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, it's for everyone, please.
No worries, I'll take it. So, in advanced chemistry cell program, I'll start from that side because that is the one which actually started sort of the discussions as well as the serious players coming in for the cell manufacturing in our country. So we had made the matrix. The matrix has two things. One is the battery life and the watt-hour per kg energy. That is on the transaction of that, each and every battery chemistry was, marked. Not specifically NMC 111 or 811 or 522 or 546, whatever it is. So currently, even in the current context, sodium ion doesn't fall any of the, the applicable as well as the eligible chemistries which falls within this. Having said that, the investment as well as the development is happening very fast. In fact, the other day, just 2 days back, I was at IIT Bombay for discussion with 2 of the professors who are working on some of the technologies and basically the electrolytes and the solvents on that. They were also of the same opinion that they are also working on the sodium ion, by the way. That it takes a lot of time, efforts, supply chain establishment, and establishing the right consistent material supply when it comes to the commercialization at giga scale. We are not talking about the megawatt scale. Now everything is giga scale when it comes to the battery storage, because after the BAS has come, wherein the best use case for the sodium ion I can see, not in automotive as of now for sure, but of course the BYD and the Cattle has already come out with a very good watt-hour per kg. Still they claim around 160 to 180, but I haven't seen any of that vehicle sodium ion coming out with that type of watt-hour per kg as of now. Having said that, I think as an alternative, definitely we need something and there must be something which will be there. In addition, government also has one program called Niche ACC program, which has not yet started, but it was part of the earlier ACC approval only. And I'm sure MHI must be doing something around it, around $500 million worth of program that was. And sodium ion, zinc gel, aluminum air, semi-solid platform. It's a platform basically. Those technologies actually qualifies in that, which has good potential in terms of commercialization, but not at giga scale, but megawatt hour scale.
I think sodium ion battery technology, chemistry would be good option for India, especially considering the fact that we do not have any resources of lithium ion. And right now everybody who is planning to make cells in India end up with importing the lithium from China or other countries where resources are available. And sodium is more widely available across different countries, including India. And also, it is more stable, especially considering the extreme temperatures what we have in India. And also, I understand that with little modifications in the processing setup for lithium-ion batteries, we can also make sodium-ion cells. That's a great advantage. But the only drawback what sodium-based cells have compared to lithium-ion is the basic capacity. We'll end up with heavier batteries for the same output what lithium-ion batteries would be giving. So it may not suit all the applications across all segments of vehicles, but especially for two-wheelers and three-wheelers, maybe it's one of the best options for India.
Good evening, everybody. Great to be here. Thank you, FE, for inviting us here. I think, look, I think whether it's sodium, aluminum air, whatever technology you want to use, for me, scale is important. I think in today's, today's world, specifically in India, price sensitivity and safety is extremely important. But price sensitivity is extremely important if we're going to go, from ICE to EV. We're talking about two-wheelers and three-wheelers, and absolutely agree that, sodium, ion, and, other technologies are also out there. But I think at the moment, what is really leading the charge right now is LFP. I would say, 99% of vehicles, maybe even more, are all LFP, basically. Okay, there's some LTO, there's some NMC, but I would say, new technologies, new battery technologies are important, but I think what's important is how do we get scale? I think, the days where you're going to get a lot of support from the government are over. I think they've got other agendas, and I don't think, you're going to get a whole lot of subsidy, maybe on the electric trucks. And I think more needs to be done, with battery technologies on electric trucks. I think that is an area which we really, really have left behind. I mean, there's been work that has been done, over the last few years, but I think more needs to be done on that space. I think the two and the three-wheelers are really, really finding their own way, and the TCO models are working. On the battery technology, I think, we've got to continually develop, whether it's sodium, whether it's aluminum, whether it's even hydrogen, right? How do we continuously make sure that we need to make sure that it gets to tier 2, 3, 4 cities? Because I think, the tier 1 cities have already got enough, charging infra, and have got enough ecosystem development. I think for me, we've got to be able to, and the other thing that we face as OEMs is, as battery technology continually changes, how do we, continually change with that? Because you make an investment, and then a new technology comes in, and then you need another investment. So I think this is something that we all, whether we're in India or we are globally, we're facing this challenge. But I think that, for me, until we hit scale with one technology, working with 50 technologies, yes, you work on that. But I think we've got to have some technology that really works for us a little bit, then continuously changing. And I think, we've got to make sure there's enough testing. We've got to make sure there's enough data. And I also think we've got to have enough charging infra, right, to come up with new battery technologies continuously, and making sure we don't have enough charging. That's going to be a problem too. So I think this is a marathon, not a sprint. And I think, we've done a lot. The industry at the moment, for me, is going through a bit of a shake-up because, I think, there's going to need to be consolidation, which is absolutely happening right now, since the last 6 to 8 months. And that's accelerating as we go into this financial year. But I think new battery technologies should be looked at, but I think it needs more time. And we've got to be able to get scale, because we do sodium ion, then we work on other technology, then we work, but we don't have any scale on anything. So none of the guys are going to make any money. And if the guys are not going to make money, then I think we're going to have an issue. Anyway, thank you very much.
So on this note, good evening, everybody. I would like to start a little bit more from the upper side. I mean, the world is a pretty simple and smart place. No? There are countries who have oil, there are countries who have coal, there are countries who have maybe gas, and there are countries who have nothing. No? At the same point of time, we are all still emitting, and the world is not such a smart place like it used to be. So we need to take care about the whole environment, and that's why the renewables call renewables. So everybody goes to this direction, and some countries, in sake for the geopolitical safety, or you can simply add with your money as a country having nothing, what I name, but being able to invest and take it as an opportunity, like India is definitely going to do, and the government has a clear target here to do it. We can embrace the renewables much faster. I mean, we are not the fastest in the race. The e-mobility is basically since more than 20 years there. There was a coal time, there was an oil time. The future is an EV time, that's for sure. How much fast it will come, every country different. How much fast we can be, 30%, 20, 30, I doubt, no? But at least I'm happy that in Delhi now here, at least Delhi NCR, the adoption at least for two-wheelers and three-wheelers will be much faster, and four-wheelers will follow. Which technology will be there in the EV electric future, and what will be behind? Are there still some range extenders? Are there in between some hybrids? Is it finally a solid-state battery, whatever ceramics can be inside? I very much agree. Without a scale, without industrial manufacturing in a very huge scale, we will get nowhere. And this requires big investment in technical development. This requires some time. All these races are running all around the world, and we are happy to join them. And I think there are a lot of opportunities for the local economy to be much smarter and much faster than the others, learning from all the things around the world and all the mistakes as well the governments around the world have done when they have been adopting it. Because it's just not about consumer or pushing manufacturers. You need to find a good balance in it. No? And the adoption will take time. I mean, is EV today with the current technology an answer for all the needs which the customers have in terms of private mobility, which basically is equal to freedom? No, it doesn't. So we need to touch the right point, and it was as well the previous discussion about which points are still being obstacle to embrace the e-mobility much faster.
So you touch on a lot of topics, and suddenly now tariffs has become a very dirty word. But we all know about the rare earth minerals, and there's one country that has a monopoly over that. So do you see that now maybe the battery prices might again shoot up? Will it be more expensive?
I think absolutely, what you're talking about, we're seeing, I mean, the magnets issue is already there, right? And in today's geopolitical world, I mean, I hope Mr. Trump's son listens to you, these days, because he's going back to he says drill, baby, drill. So I don't know where we're going in the United States, but or even in Deutschland, right? They've pulled back. So even Europe's, talking about it, but they've pulled back a little bit. So my point is really, the issue is that we have to work on technologies. The rare earths issue is there. It's not something that we know today. I think the Chinese have played it very, very well. They've not just built the cell or the battery technology. They've gone back towards, I was an old commodity. I spent 25 years running large commodity funds, so I know, how this works. And they were really smart about making sure that they controlled the global rare earths. And I think in current environment, they're going to flex the muscles. And I think, but there are technologies where there's magnetless motors. There are technologies that are coming out with other, other mixture or whatever we call, spices, to keep it very simple, to build, our technologies. I think this is a marathon, not a sprint. Do I see battery prices going up? I think we're going to stabilize. I think we had a huge run up. We had a huge capacity. It came down. Markets have this tendency. I'm going to say, you talk about battery prices. I'm an old oil trader, so oil goes, from $20 to 100 to 200 to back to 20. These are cycles. I think that, but I do think batteries are going to be able to be, in a pretty good, pricing is going to be pretty even. We've got a lot of technology that has changed. A lot of water has passed under the bridge. I still see EVs, and I think you're right. My good friend was saying whether it's going to be, EVs or hybrids or hydrogen. Listen, we want cleaner and greener. I don't care about what's happening in the United States or Europe. I want my country to be cleaner and greener, and India needs it, right? 31 of the most polluted cities are in this world, and if we care about our future generations, we've got to do it. I'm not bothered about what other people do. I think what I'm bothered about, how do we make this nation, this country, and our future generations a much cleaner, greener. So we'll have to adopt it no matter what. But we've also got to make sure that the grid is clean. Right? You start putting charging infra and you take it from the, from the core grid. Well, that's also not right. So I think a lot of work needs to be done. But I think, China's going to do what China's going to do. And I think we've just got to make sure that we have a long-term plan, we execute to that plan, and I keep saying to everybody, Randheer, you're an ex-government. I just don't think depending too much on the government. I don't think that's a good business in India. I think you really do what you can do for yourself. And if the government does it, and I'm not saying Niti Aayog with Department of Heavy Industries did a lot of heavy lifting, but I think their days are over. I don't think they have much funds to give. It's very clear, and they've made it very clear that they'll do some, but it's a very small amount, right? And so I think that we at industry have to, and I think all of us have to do, are we going to put some hand in our pocket, or are we just going to say, is the next one in? You know, we've got our soldiers in the front line. They're defending us. Do they say, can you come help us? So I think it's a duty of all of us to help in this. Thank you.
So specifically, what I understand from your question is, what is the impact of tariff, whether it will be costlier in India or not? So maybe the first-hand experience is some of the projects which I do as as part of the consulting with the battery manufacturer. We haven't seen any of the cell manufacturer actually coming on table and asking for change in price, even increase or decrease. Neither the Indians. So from that perspective, and those are the long-term contracts, like 1.5 to 2 years. Those type of contracts are there. Mostly everybody wants to hedge their risk in terms of the supply. So that has not happened as of now, and I haven't seen any of the signals coming from either side. This is one side. Second side, the movement which I have seen is a lot of the Chinese cell manufacturers. They have now actually started looking for the locations where they can do the work like ODM sort of thing. Indonesia is actually the one destination wherein around 1 to 2 gigafactories are coming up of the Chinese manufacturers, including the cattle, which was supposed to start the series production by 2026. That is something which has been fast-tracked. So we can see by the end of this year itself, the production might start. That might be the one impact because of the tariff. They have fast-tracked the production from the other countries. But when it comes to the manufacturers, battery manufacturers here, who source the cells from outside India, I don't see much change, and I haven't seen any of the incident here happening wherein they're coming back and asking for any revision in prices upwards or downwards. I'm not sure, Peter, how is Škoda placed in terms of that, global contracts and all, how you're getting impacted, because I'm sure from the Germany side, there might be some impact when it comes to the sourcing from.
Okay, I don't want to comment so much the VW group because we have planned 6 gigafactories. Actually, we have 3 all around the world, and we have stopped it because we have one in Spain, one in Germany, one in Canada, and we have stopped it because we are expecting some big changes, especially in the solid state. But this should not be about VW group or about Škoda. Generally, the clear answer is no. The prices will go down and the energy density will go up. There are huge money all around the world put into technical development. There are now different chemistries developed. It's all about assuring geopolitically the safe way, and all the raw materials, they are coming from the stock exchange anyway. Nah? It's all global. And the countries who does not understand that free trade is for benefit all people around the world, and they want to protect themselves and make whatever money that they can put back into the economy, let them do. I mean, all the other world, I think, understands that the way forward is a free trade, and we all need to benefit out of the globalization because we came so far that the globalization cannot be stopped. Yes, US is a big player, but it's not the one and only player, and every action will make reaction. So the prices of batteries will go down. Today, battery is 50% of the car price. It will definitely improve in performance. And this is actually positive and negative at the same time. It's positive because we see the development, and one day EV will be a car which fulfill all the customer needs in terms of private mobility. And it's negative because if you see this development coming, you automatically understand that residual value of the EV, like by the iPhone, will always be a case because every new EV is much better EV for the same or lower price. Yeah?
When we are talking about the cost of batteries, right now all the battery assemblers are importing cells, and basically they are putting them together to meet the customer requirements here. And the government has come out with PLI schemes to support people trying to manufacture cells in India. But the point is, with whatever, huge volumes China is operating in manufacturing cells and the efficiencies what they have already achieved, will India be able to catch up with those things? Only then we'll get cost advantage by localization of the cells. There's one point, at least I am not very clear how it will happen, because generally when you localize things, the costs are less than imported part. But in this particular case, because of the volume, is a big, massive volumes for which the China is catering, and they have perfected the art of making cells. So for us to catch up to that efficiency of manufacturing and also get the volumes is going to take a long time.
In terms of sustainability now, one of the leading manufacturer in India, and so you were associated with them, they said that it's not hybrid versus EVs. But then we see different states coming up with different policies, like most probably Delhi will be providing some rebates for hybrid, while Maharashtra hasn't yet announced anything. Won't hybrids be a lot more practical option, a bridge between the EVs and the ICE, because it's also affordable? Or do we have to wait and see some more development in the hybrid technology?
Unfortunately, the central government has not come out with any support for hybrid vehicles. However, some states, like recently Delhi government also has announced waiver of registration fees and road tax for hybrids, strong hybrids. The point we need to understand is that with whatever projections we have for the growth of the auto industry, and also the way the EV vehicles are, EV vehicle penetration is happening, for a long time IC vehicles and EV vehicles are going to coexist. There's no doubt on that. Maybe it would be a decade or so. So in such a situation, it's equally important to improve performance of IC vehicles also to contain the CO2 footprint. So hybrid as a technology is not dependent on public charging requirements, and it improves the performance of IC vehicles by at least 30 to 35%, which is a big improvement. So I think in short term we should, government should support the hybrid vehicles also, along with whatever they are doing for penetration of EV vehicles. That's what I feel.
Yeah, so hybrid is a favorite story. I think it's definitely a good intermediate bridge until we get to the EV fully. It definitely fulfills customer expectation out of mobility much better. And it is still not about customer, unfortunately. I mean, we have in the group two hybrid solution, full hybrid solution. We have plug-in hybrid, we have range extenders, and none of this solution we have localized and bring to India. Why? Because we are still missing the clarity. I mean, within 2 years, the CAFE 3 actually should start in the financial year 27. And it's 2 years from now, and you don't know actually what is coming. So hybrid is a perfect thing for customer, but customer will never pay 2-3 lakhs more for this technology. And these two solutions which we have, one of them, I give you for example, yeah, I'm not saying this is the price. One of them is 1.5 lakh, the second one is 3 lakhs. No? So and a range extender is even more. Should we go for it? No. Unless there is a regulational benefit, we will not go for it. Even if it is good for environment, it's probably good for the customer, but customer would never pay the price we are able to produce it for in the scale we are expecting. And the bigger scale we are not able to create in India because we are still in a very price cautious market. So is it the way forward? Yes, for environment, yes. For customer, yes. We need some regulation which will either say this is the way or this is not the way. But saying nothing to hybrid is basically saying this is not a way, because the costs on our side, on OEM side, is higher that people would like to pay as today consumers for such a kind of technology.
Peter, you know, it's been about 7, 8 years. My friend Randheer's been on the journey in India. They're always going to ask for a price, you know. I mean, I haven't found any consumer who doesn't say, you know, they all want something cheaper, right? It's just in the DNA out here. You know, I've learned this the hard way over the last, 7 or 8 years I've been here back home. I think hybrid is a solution. I think what we did before with EVs were, you know, we were like those, special forces guys or girls that went out there and we, did a lot of recon. We put a lot of vehicles. Something worked, something didn't work. When it worked, then all the big boys and girls said, yeah, we're in this now and we'll put pile in the money. This is how India works, right? So I think, it's going to be a combination of, okay, we'll test the market. Will you ever get a customer? And I am going to say this, the government really took a leadership on EV, okay? But it was a bumpy ride, right? A few people blew the red light in terms of subsidies, then they stopped the light for everybody. This is India, right? This is how it works here. You know, my mom said when I come back, if you want to complain about India, don't come back here, right? This is a place where the way it works. So my comeback to you is that I think, hybrids is absolutely got away. Toyota only talks about hybrid, right? For them, the Japanese, this is the only way. But I think that, India is a very, very, you've been here, it's a very diverse country, different horses for different courses. Somebody likes something. I think the market's big enough. I think the government will only do something when they see a much, much bigger picture. And I think the experience on the EVs and the subsidies that they did, I think they should have learned a lot. I'm sure Randheer can talk a little bit about it. He was part of Niti Aayog. But I think we've got to put all the different products out there. I think the startups can help in this space a little bit. Startups are getting a bit of a bad name in the last 6-8 months right now in India. We've even got our friend Aruna bashing us startups on national TV. But I think they will do hard work. They will put products. If you see the acceptance, I'm sure you'll come in all guns blazing. So I think it's a mix and match of everything. But I hope, for me, there's only one goal. How do I make this country cleaner and greener? And I think you'll see that momentum go. But anyway, maybe Randheer, you with your experience can add on this.
So hybrid in general is a very loosely used word. Which hybrid, strong, mild, PHEV, is going to be a bridge between the BEV and the fossil fuel? Personally, I feel PHEV is the one which is actually a bridge. Strong, mild are just the words. I think they shouldn't be even allowed to use the word hybrid. PHEV, I totally agree. Plug-in hybrid EVs are the ones which can serve as a bridge for sure. And I haven't seen, I don't think, which model is there in India? So then when we talk about the hybrid, there has to be something available, right? More than one model should be available for the comparison at least, right? When there is only an absolute one number is available, how will you even compare? That is also not available. So the first question is whether the models are available, right? I think this is the question which I don't know whether me and you and who should be asking, but definitely people who should be answering are the OEMs, who have a good presence in EVs or very good volume in the fossil fuel based vehicles which are being sold right now. Maybe the top 5 of the top 6 OEMs who should be answering this question. If there is no hybrid available, when I say hybrid, I'm talking about the PHEV, not the strong and mild, because for me, that is not a bridge from fossil fuel to EV. And from the technology perspective also, when you go into the detail, everybody will understand. That's my 2 cents.
So it's plug-in hybrid, so we'll talk about it then. Okay, but we've also heard and read about the Delhi EV policy, and they've taken a very bold step in two-wheelers especially, that fuel-powered two-wheelers will not be registered after August 15th next year. And for CNG, it's this year, August. How is that going to affect the common man? Because you talked about price sensitivity and all. what are the options? I mean, how expensive is it going to be then?
I will start maybe. Yeah? So, sorry for bringing parallel with China, but I was 2015 and 16 working in Seiki Volkswagen, and I have witnessed at that point of time that 2.6 crores of two-wheelers were exchanged in Shanghai within the 3 weeks. Literally 3 weeks. I was in Hanoi because we have been preparing another factory of Škoda there, and there it takes forever. No? So I'm actually very happy that at least it will start by two-wheelers, then three-wheelers, and hopefully it will go to four-wheelers, because once you push out the diesels, you have to have an alternative. And for all the people, much better environment. So I'm very much happy that somebody is moving, and it's the capital which is moving. So it's actually a great move. In the end of the day, it can be done much faster. I mean, 1 year is not ambitious. This is what I wanted to say. I mean, 1 year, I mean, you set the rules. The people will follow. It is EVs, whatever it is, 2, 3, or 4-wheelers are the most easiest things to drive, are still the most easiest things to maintain, and are still the most easiest things in terms of cost of ownership without buying and selling, no? Because this initial purchase price and residual value is still a topic. However, going with the car, maintaining the car, whatever it is, 2, 3-wheelers, is always the best. No? So I think people will embrace it. Just need this first impulse to go, and they will embrace it.
Yeah, so, 5% is called the inflection point for any change to happen. When it comes to the two-wheelers and three-wheelers for the transition, I think we are set already. That's in the self-driving mode. But when it comes to the four-wheelers or any of the other vehicles, definitely still the push is required. I think from the four-wheeler perspective, even now the market is ready. I don't know what governments are going to do, whether policy or not policy, mandate or not mandate. Personally, I am against the mandates, right? When it comes to, because mandate comes with a punishment. Because what if mandate is not being followed? Whatever punishment? And then there are a lot of other things which follows to it. But definitely the vision gives a clear signal to the OEMs, gives a clear signal to the market. That is where we as a country wants to head. That is actually one good thing which happens when you announce the policies. Okay, the phase-wise manner, whether it will be 1 year, 2 year, or the 3 year, that is something which is debatable, and with the larger consultation should be fixed in. Of course, in line with the country's ambitions of the going to the net zero, reducing our intensity of the the fossil fuel, which is by 2030 around 50% has to be reduced. In line with the global goals, it has to boil down, and finally, when it comes to the state policies, also they should also align with with our national goals, right? But of course, in discussion with the stakeholders, which are definitely the OEMs, whether they are ready, what sort of things should be followed. And now aggregators have a big play in our country, right? Without discussion with those aggregators, and that is actually a low-hanging fruit, right? That is where a lot of change can happen. And when there is a demand, from where the large chunk of demand comes from the aggregator to the OEMs. And if aggregators are demanding that we want to switch to this type of vehicles in particular, whether maybe it will be a segment, of course the type through which it runs, definitely the manufacturer will do that, right? So it's a different type of flow, but of course, personally mandate is something I think without extensive stakeholder consultations and giving enough time for people to switch shouldn't be done with it. It not only have financial implications, but also the market signal, what type of signal you are giving to the manufacturers. They cannot keep switching, their supply chain, immediately BS6, now 7 is coming, now you say CNG is there, now you are saying even, within the EV, this type of things, then you are also coming out with the CAFE norms. New CAFE norms are also in line, right? So there has to be a very clear signal, which should go for from the policy perspective. Mandate or no mandate, personally, I'm not in favor of the mandates,
I think in case of two-wheelers, there are a lot of two-wheelers available at almost similar price like a gasoline vehicle. What Delhi EV policy to forces the people with IC vehicles to switch over to electric vehicles, basically. So maybe some banks have to come forward to support this change, I think. Otherwise, from operational point of view, the the overall cost of operation in two-wheelers is quite attractive for the user. So except that, many people may not be able to change their vehicle at this juncture. So there, some support from the banks would be required.
For me, you know, the Delhi policy is really, you know, a great step. I mean, this city, you know, they show AQI at, I don't know, 400 or 500, but I think it's about 1,500 in the, you know, or whatever it is. But I do think that, you know, the government has taken a very serious look at this. And I think the three-wheeler TCO model, I mean, you know, like Peter was talking about, you know, I've spent a lot of time in Vietnam and I've seen that. But in the 2, 3, and even in the 1-ton truck now, the total cost ownership model works. And I think that the more we push, I think, you know, if you do a swap vehicle, I think the cost is even if you have, Sun is setting up, we work with Sun, they're setting up swap stations across this city, and you're seeing charging infra. I keep coming back to it. More and more of this will be done if the charging infra is set up. And I think in Delhi, you're seeing more and more of that. And I think that, you know, this is a great step forward. I really, you know, want to say, you know, there was a Delhi policy before, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know if anybody's sitting here, nobody got paid on that subsidy. I mean, at least I haven't, and I know many of the people did. They just didn't have the budget. But I think that, you know, I think this is a good step forward. And I think the 2 and the 3-wheelers, and if you do the 1-ton trucks, they work. And I think more and more will go electric. I mean, there's a huge city. The demand is up. I mean, time's up, so I should stop. But I'm saying that there are a huge amount. I think there's over maybe a lack of 3-wheelers in this city, and there are, I mean, unlimited number of 2-wheelers. And if we can change that, it would change the 1-ton trucks to electric. I think a lot can happen. And this city can be a role model for other cities in this country. And as I said before, I don't think we have a choice. We have to move that way. And I really do appreciate the government taking that. And I think for me, whatever the government can give, just take it, because the rest has to be done by us. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. We're out of time. So bold steps, bold decisions are needed for sustainability. So thank you again so much. Thank you.